Welcome to the Fence and Deck Mastery Podcast, where we discuss cutting-edge techniques, industry trends, and business insights to take your fence or deck company to the next level and dominate your competition. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Alex Danner, and also the founder of Fence and Deck Marketers, which is a marketing agency that works only with fencing and decking businesses. And today we're going to be talking about how we can save some money for the contractors listening to the show. So if you've listened to the show before, you see I bring on a lot of different guests, whether it's business owners or vendors, manufacturers, pretty wide array. So I wanted to keep that trend going and kind of, give the listeners, some different ways that can help their businesses. And I think today's one is definitely going to accomplish that. So today we're going to be diving deep into credit card processing and just managing payments for your business and how you can really save money that way. So I actually brought an expert on this. So it's Mark Dolan from Tiger Payment Solutions, and he's going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff here. So Mark, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Alex. Thanks for having me. It was great meeting you out in Vegas, and happy to get involved here. And we can dive right in. Whatever questions you have about that merchant services space, particularly as it relates to fence and deck guys, happy to chat about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like Mark was saying, met at the Deck Expo this past year, and I think that's one of the cool things about Deck Expo is of course you meet contractors and people we can help directly, but you'll never really be able to guess the different people that might come across the booth, or you go to their booth and something you just kind of learn about. And this is definitely one of those. So, once we spoke a little bit, I wanted to bring him on here to kind of share that expertise and hopefully help some people listening. But Mark, if you could just kind of explain your story, I guess things leading up to when you joined Tiger Payment Solutions and, I guess anything leading up to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll give you the quick kind of history of Tiger. We actually began in the oil business. The founder of Tiger Payment Solutions is a fifth generation oil man. He's been delivered. Yeah, so he's actually the fifth Rob Fawcett to run Fawcett Energy, and from that business, Tiger was born. He, back in the 1800s, they were delivering coal, right? And then, when people started over time finding different ways to pay, they started paying with credit cards. And so he said, hey, this, we're taking a lot of money in our family business here to pay with credit cards. I'm going to figure this out. And that's how Tiger Payment Solutions was born. So about 20 years ago, he founded Tiger, and we have been helping merchants all around the country, every state and Canada, help either drive down or eliminate the fees that you pay to take a credit card. But we were actually born in the oil business. We have since dived directly into a number of other verticals, including the fence and deck business. My own personal story, and thanks, Alex, for bringing that up. I actually built and sold off a very successful cybersecurity company. Rob and I had worked together on that project as well. And so a few years ago, he asked me to come join Tiger full time. And so that's how we wound up here today.
Nice. Well, when did you say you joined Tiger?
So about 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep. And again, the business, I was the first one to kind of dive into the fence and deck game. So our experience in the fence and deck space is years long at this point. We work with countless fence contractors all around the country, and also work with some key influencers in the space as well.
Nice. Okay. And I think when you might have just mentioned it, but I know you said it when we spoke earlier, but I think you're saying Tiger's a family-run business. It's I guess a family culture internally. I mean, maybe talk to that. I mean, how does that help shape the business at all, and kind of how you guys deal with things?
It is indeed, and thanks for bringing that up, because that's really kind of what sets us apart, and really how we wound up in the fencing industry. So we are indeed a small family-run business. We get to know all of our clients. So these large, like Square and Stripe and these big nameless, faceless payment processors, the end customer has no relationship there. You can't talk to anybody. Everybody's set up to send an email or get in a ticketing queue, etc. we get to know our customers. We get to understand their business, and it's really that level of attention that we give to our merchants that sets us apart. And that's the way that fence and deck guys run their businesses. So from a philosophy standpoint, we're really cut from the same cloth, and that's why we've really gravitated towards this industry, is because yes, we're doing merchant services. These other guys are building decks, but we have the same philosophy, which is a customer first mentality.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And how does that I guess when you talk about that close relationship, and I know you mentioned that if somebody needs help, you call them and you actually are talking to real people. It's not a like you mentioned, nameless, faceless company. So can you give like any examples where it's kind of really helps to have that relationship? When somebody has a problem, is there anything that might come up that like it, maybe something that fencing and decking business owner that's listening has this issue right now that could be something that you guys do better to handle it?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, conversations that I have with brand new customers, they usually start as a financial conversation. Hey, we're paying all these fees and we don't understand the fees, and we want to put more dollars back to our bottom line and improve our profitability. I can absolutely have that conversation and help anybody that I talk to in that area. But once the customer comes on board, it's really that white glove level of attention is the reason why they stay. We don't ask any of our clients to sign up for any long-term contracts, so everybody's with us on a month-to-month basis. And we have clients that have been with us for 20 years, and it's because of that level of attention that they get, Alex. So everybody has my cell phone number. The entire Tiger support team is available on at night, on weekends. We're constantly answering our phone. We have got a kind of a schedule as to who's going to be on call to answer the phone. So if you've ever been in a position where you're trying to understand a transaction, or a transaction won't go through, or you think that something has been compromised with your payment situation, and you really need to talk to a live person, that's what you get with Tiger. And it doesn't matter if it's Super Bowl Sunday or the 4th of July or whatever, you're going to get a live person here to talk to and help you.
Okay. And maybe it'd be helpful too if you could, because we know it's, processing credit card stuff like that. But I mean, is that just the main service? Just somebody is just trying to process a new, that basically a payment for a new deck or a new fence. That's what you guys do. Is there anything else involved, with the service, anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the actual processing of the payment is kind of the nuts and bolts transaction. Anybody can do that, right? But what we do is, number one, drive down the fees associated with those transactions. So we're increasing the profitability, right? We're putting dollars back to the bottom line. But because we have so much experience in this industry, we have got solutions that are unique to fence and deck guys. Meaning, if you want to get paid on your phone, if you want to text your customer to get paid, if you want to figure out a way to get paid on your website, or these various ways to get paid in a mobile capacity that contractors really, really enjoy, we can give you best practice guidance on those solutions, get you paid faster. Yes, the dollars and cents of it is a big part of the conversation. But again, because of our vast experience in this industry, we can show you ways that are best suited for the type of industry that you're in to get you paid quicker.
Okay. And yeah, you mentioned the website. So is it when you say like getting paid through your website, does that mean like a portal of some sort, or how does that work?
Yep. So there's a number of options, to get paid via your website. We've got a very robust platform, multiple payment gateways. I won't get into the gory details, here. Try to keep this a little high level, Alex. But it's the front end of the website where your customer pays can be very clean, can be very secure, and on the back end we can connect it with the help of your web developer, back to us for the payment processing. So again, if you're looking to get paid in some other way than just a regular terminal or over the phone, we can show you a number of different mobile ways to do it, get you your money faster.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I mean, we build a lot of websites, but we don't have many clients that have a portal where you could I mean, I've seen them before, but for whatever reason, and maybe we have done a couple, but most of them definitely don't. But Yeah, I was just curious about that. And then you said like on mobile too, is that like an app or is that just paying on a website?
Yeah, so we've got a number of options on that front. We've got we can configure your account to send links via email to your customer, to text them, or like you mentioned, an iPhone or an Android app right on your phone. So you bid a job and it's a $5,000 down payment, and you want to get paid right in the front yard there, via a credit card. We can show you ways to do that. Again, you're not waiting for checks. You're not waiting, 30 days to get paid. Next day funding through credit cards, which is what we provide. Your money gets deposited into your account immediately. So, this can improve your cash flow as well because you're getting paid quicker on jobs.
Yeah, for sure. Is is it just credit cards? Is it ACH or anything else? How does that
Yep.
work?
Yep. Great question. So we our platform supports a full array of payment methods, including credit cards, debit cards, ACH. So all of those, all the standard ways that you're getting paid now. If you're in a spot where you're taking credit cards in a face-to-face situation, maybe you've got materials that you're selling in a brick and mortar a retail environment out to other contractors or do-it-yourselfers. We've got mobile terminals that we can put out there where they'll take Apple Pay, Google Pay, things like that. So
Nice.
you won't find a way to get paid that we don't support.
Okay. And just curious, and maybe this is kind of from my own curiosity too, but do you do any ACH fees when you do those transactions?
29 cents a transaction. So very, very uh, uh, cost effective, right?
Yeah.
For you to use our ACH platform.
Yeah, that's really, really cheap. I mean, I think like the normal now is like Square and some of them are like 1%, right? Or something like that.
Indeed. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Again, the conversation that I have when I meet somebody for the first time is definitely a financial one. So the savings will be there for sure. But it's the ongoing white glove attention that you get is why we've had these customers for decades.
Yeah, for sure. Um, okay. And then I know we talked about not going too much in the weeds, so I guess you probably are used to giving like a summary of this, but um, I'm not really sure if contractors typically use credit cards or ACH. I know when I get billed from contractors, a lot of times it's probably 50-50, I guess, what I've seen. But just curious, like the credit card piece of it, if they are using somebody else right now and they're getting charged whatever amount, how does that break down? Like, how do the savings help if they use Tiger versus what they might be using now?
Yeah. Yep. So every transaction that takes place that's an electronic transaction has a fee associated with it. And there's a portion of that fee that's driven by the issuing bank, meaning your homeowner who's paying you with a credit card, whatever that credit card is in that person's hand drives the bulk of that rate that you pay. And Visa and a MasterCard, America, they all have different rates. Is it a debit card versus a credit card? Is it a consumer card versus a commercial card? Is it attached to some type of rewards program? Are there Delta Sky Miles attached to this card, etc.? So you can imagine that there are just an endless amount of possibilities as to what the types of cards that you can take. That's what really drives the rate. There's a margin that processors put on top of that, and that's where we can really, really help. So we would take we'd meet a fence or deck contractor for the first time, take a look at how they're processing payments now, do a full complementary analysis of the way that you're taking payments, and then I can show you, we're experts there, on all the various processors and the types of statements that you get every month. They're hard to decipher, and that's by design, frankly. But I can help any business owner take a look at what they've got, and I can identify areas where the Tiger fee would be much, much lower, and then do a full analysis. Hey, these are the types of cards that you take. If you were with Tiger on this given month, you would have saved $1,500 or whatever the case is, right? And so I'm happy to do that analysis for any new customer. But to answer your question, the bulk of any transaction is really driven by the card type that your customer is taking.
Okay. So does that mean like you would look at, I guess for decking and fencing, most of the time it's not recurring, but I'm sure there would be some similarities. But maybe I'm just thinking of if there were recurring. I guess I'm thinking of like, I guess I was thinking of my business where it is like monthly recurring. Are you like looking at the past ones to say like, okay, you get a list of transactions to see um, this many transactions, and then the cards associated with each one, and then from there you kind of say like, all right, this person you would have saved this much because they use this card, and then go down the line. Is that how it works, or
That's exactly right, Alex. So,
okay,
whatever statement that you get from whomever you're using, I would take a peek at it and say, "Hey, this is these are the fees that you're being charged. This is what they all mean. If you were working with Tiger, it would be this much less." There are some other fees that a lot of processors charge as well, that we don't charge. So, in addition to the transaction fees, a lot of processors will hide other fees, in those statements. And again, we're experts at identifying those and eliminating them wherever possible. So yeah, and just to kind of expand on what you had mentioned in your business, where it's a recurring, you've got folks that are your clients that are in a subscription model, doesn't necessarily lend itself to the fence and deck market, but we're experts there too. Securely vaulting cards, recurring payments, subscriptions. We are experts on that front as well.
okay, I gotcha. So
Yeah.
what are the worst cards to accept?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, something that's got some type of cashback or rewards program associated, Delta Sky Miles, like somebody has to pay, like somebody's buying that plane ticket, right? Either you or your end customer. So those rewards programs usually put a significant amount of extra fees into that interchange, or that regulated piece of the fee. So you want to avoid those if you can. A debit card is much friendlier in terms of the fee to take than a credit card, because a debit card is it's like cash, right? Like it comes
Yeah,
directly
yeah,
out of the checking account, whereby a credit card is more of a little 30-day mini loan. And so there's
yeah,
an in-person transaction is better to take than an online transaction. In person, there's less propensity for fraud, because you're standing there with the person. So I know that didn't answer your question, like what's the best card to take, but yeah, if you can avoid cards that are associated with Sky Miles and those rewards programs, that will save you on the fees.
okay. So those are the best ones to use for buying a deck, not to accept one.
I was just going to say, so like in our experience, and again, we've been in the fence and deck game for a long time. It used to be, an average fence project that's $12,000-15,000. A homeowner would put that on their home equity line, right? Nowadays, they're like, well, I want the miles. I'm insisting that I'm using my credit card. So we're seeing in this industry lots more usage of credit cards, and homeowners, frankly, insisting that they get to use their card. So yeah, it's the best one to use, not necessarily the best one to accept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've heard like American Express, a lot of people don't use that. Is that still the case? Like, is that a bad one or no?
No, it depends. It really, honestly, it depends on the industry, and it
Okay.
also depends on what's attached to that
Gotcha.
AMX. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Um, Last question on that. The Spark business card, is that a bad one to accept? I know that one, a lot of people have that.
Anything that behaves like a credit card is still going to have that interchange piece,
Yeah.
the regulated fee there.
Yeah.
So they're really all the same.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then we talked about, I wish I had the data on this to see what the most used is. Maybe I got to add this to our onboarding form, but um, what I know QuickBooks is like, the huge company that everyone knows about. You mentioned an integration with QuickBooks, something that you guys do. Maybe you can talk about that, how that works together.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. So we will take a look at not only what you're doing for processing, but other areas of your business, right? Like, and so one thing that we really want to understand is how, from an accounting standpoint, you're driving the business. And we have a partner that allows us to integrate into anybody who's using QuickBooks to collect payments. So what we find in a number of home improvement industries, and fence and deck is no exception. A lot of fence contractors are using QuickBooks to accept payments. So using Intuit QuickBooks as the processor. 3% for credit card transactions, 1% for ACH, and those dollars, you just have to absorb them, right? Unless you're going back and manually adjusting the invoice, which there's some, you don't have to go down that path right now, but you're not supposed to. There's some regulations around that.
Yeah.
That said, we have a very, very functional and slick integration through a partner of ours with QuickBooks. So if I meet a fence contractor that's doing $1 million a year and processing their payments through QuickBooks, they're likely eating $30,000 in fees every year. And I can show them a couple of ways to either A, drive those costs down, or B, in a compliant fashion, pass those fees on to the homeowner. So they wind up netting out zero in terms of their processing costs if they're using QuickBooks. It's a game changer. I've met countless fence folks that are fence and deck guys that are using QuickBooks, to process their payments, and we have that conversation. I show them, this tool that we're using. Again, it changes the business. The profitability is incredible, and they get paid quicker too. There's a whole bunch of other features that we don't have to get into, but a QuickBooks the QuickBooks integration that we have is a game changer for a lot of the folks that we meet.
Yeah, and I mean, the bigger you get, those fees, I mean, they end up being multiple salaries, depending on how big the company is. So.
Right. Think about that. A contractor that I meet that's doing $3 million and putting close to $90,000 a year in processing fees through QuickBooks. Boy, we could change that business. We could really change the face of that business.
Yeah, and I mean, I know this is a podcast, but I listen to podcasts constantly, and that's one I hear about a lot. I think it was Alex Hormozy. That's a guy I listen to a lot. He was saying that same thing. Like, just why are you not adding that 3.3, 3.5, whatever it is on top of the fee? Because most of the time it just kind of goes by without a hitch, or you just send them to ACH, I guess, and you just charge 1%. But I think it's kind of just, I guess people would love to have the ability to use their credit card, but I mean, if you're spending 30,000 plus on a deck, like, I don't think anybody expects to be able to use a credit card. You'd also have to have a pretty high, limit too, but okay.
We see transactions of all sizes, right? Like, and it's not uncommon for some of our clients to take a $25,000 credit card payment. It all depends. Again, the homeowner gets to decide at that point do they want to use their card and absorb the fee, or are they wanting to send a check or whatnot. So one of the nice things about our tool is that it allows those options to exist.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it gives the fence guy a peace of mind knowing that if they're going to pass the fee on to their customer, they're doing it in a compliant fashion, right? So there are certain regulations around either whether you're going to absorb or pass the fee on. You're supposed to do it in a certain way, and we can show you the parameters around that to make sure that you're doing it properly.
Do you just have to make it clear that you're doing that, or is that a
couple of other things? But that's a big one. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Any other common mistakes you typically see contractors make when it comes to this kind of thing, and maybe some things they could adjust to make it better?
Yeah. I want to bring back that concept of getting paid in different methods, right? Like a lot of contractors are just sending invoices and waiting, right? And their cash flow is a mess because of it. Again, once we start to show some best practice, maybe a little more technologically advanced ways to get your money, texting a customer to pay with his phone, or paying in person with an app on your iPhone. That gets the customer paid faster, and that's a big mistake that we're seeing, is just kind of an old school mentality where we're sending an invoice and waiting 30, 45, 60 days to get paid. There are ways to get paid quicker, and that it increases the cash flow in the business.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Is there any? I know that you guys are all across the U.S. and Canada, but is there any differences? People that are in certain states might be, understand about their state laws. Is there anything like that?
No, there are some different state laws as it relates to surcharging, which is a little different than dual pricing.
Yeah.
So there are some laws around that. But generally speaking, we have clients in all 50 states and Canada, and the only difference that we see is some of our fence guys that are in colder weather states, things slow down. We see some kind of seasonality to the business, and so there are certain parameters that you have to set up when you set the account up to make sure that the bank understands that there are ebbs and flows with the amount of payments that are being processed. But other than that, no, I love clients in California to North Carolina and everywhere in between.
Okay. And depending on what they're using, is there anything, I guess you would say, maybe just things that would pop out if you mentioned like a list of what they should be educated on to see if there would be good savings? I mean, is it pretty much most of the times when someone talks to you, you're able to find some savings regardless? Or is there anything like specific they should be thinking about? Like, okay, I'm doing this, that means I could have more savings, anything like that?
Yeah, definitely. That's another great point that I'm glad you brought up, is a lot of folks will, and this is not specific to fence and deck, this is in any industry. We've got a method by which we can get paid, and it works for us, and we set it up with our local bank, or we set it up with, Heartland or whatever some number of years ago, and we're paying 2.5%, and it's all good. And then I look at it, and they're paying 3.5%, and they haven't looked at it, and the rates have creeped up, and there are some other fees in there. They're not compliant with PCI, and they've been getting whacked for $20 a month because they're non-PCI compliant or what. Like, my suggestion is that if you should audit that, just like you do your, any of your other kind of business processes, your key business processes when you run any business, you should audit that on a regular basis and have a professional look at it. Because what I find a lot is what the business owner thinks he or she is getting is not really what the statement bears out. And so you should take a peek. My advice is you should take a peek at that more frequently.
Okay. So, but basically, if they contact you, you guys will kind of do the audit and let them know if there's any problems, things like that.
Of course. Oh yeah, yeah. For $0. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what's the process look like if they were to switch? I mean, what's all involved in there? I mean, I guess what should they expect?
Yeah, it's very frictionless. There's a very simple application, takes a minute. We submit it, create a new account for them, and then they're up and running. And so if they have, if they're integrated with some software, like the QuickBooks example, there's an extra step where we have to, create that integration. But again, extremely painless. There are no sign-up fees, no contracts, no disconnect fees. So we do everything with our clients on a month, like I mentioned, on a month-to-month basis. And we've got clients that have been with us for 20 years. So it speaks to how quickly and easily they can come on board. And then once they land here, the level of attention that they receive from us. If they need hardware, like let's say they've got a retail location where they're selling, fence parts, etc., we just send them out a new terminal, they plug it in, and off we go. So it's very, very simple. One kind of misconception in the merchant services space is you can leave your existing merchant services account open right? Well, we're setting up your new account, and so there's no risk. Like you'd never be in a position where you couldn't process a payment because your old system is still up and running. And then a month later, after you're up and running with Tiger, and we've gone through the statements, and you've realized all the savings, and it's a much more warm and fuzzy feeling, and the relationship is there, then you cancel your old vendor. That's all. So to answer your question, it's a very, very easy process. We do it all. We board dozens of customers every month. It's very, very simple, and we're experts there.
Cool. I like that. I like the sound of that. Is there any, I'm just curious, like somebody's going from eating the credit card fee to putting in their invoice. Do you guys have any strategies for ways to like sell that to them or anything like that?
Yeah, so it's in some. So what we're seeing is that it's becoming a little bit more prevalent in all industries. The fence and deck community is catching on quickly, and we're seeing it as an acceptable practice now.
Yeah.
In some other industries, restaurant business, like everybody's kind of seeing it in their day-to-day lives now. So it's not coming out of left field for anybody. And I would say, Alex, if you were to fast forward a few years, certainly 5 years or 10 years, it'll be in every industry, right?
Yeah.
So there is, however, a business decision to be made by the owner of the fence or deck company to say, hey, listen, in a competitive situation, do I want to be the one that is passing the fee on to the homeowner, or do I want to be the one that's absorbing the fee? In a competitive situation, you may want to, you may not want to be passing that fee along. We're seeing a lot of folks do it, but if you're going to continue to absorb the fee, certainly it makes the best business sense to be paying less, right, than what you're paying now. So again, that's why I say we can either drive the cost down or show you ways to eliminate it entirely.
Yeah. And it's cool. It's kind of like almost like a one-time thing where you could potentially save a lot of money. Like you don't processing and payments is not going to be any, well, it sounds like it could be better with you guys, but in general, I guess taking credit cards, things like that, it's kind of the same process. So if you can do an audit, I guess, with you guys, make a little bit more money each transaction, then I guess going forward, you just continue to do that and you're not really changing up your workflow at all, which is
Yeah. Yep.
nice.
And then again, not to get too deep into the weeds here on the fees that you pay, but there are ways that you can lower that interchange component, and I can guide merchants, end customers in addition to taking different types of cards. Entering certain information when you take a credit card can also drive it's a way that reduces the amount of fraud and therefore lowers the interchange component of the fee. So there's other guidance that we can give to help lower the fees if they want to continue to absorb them themselves.
Okay, makes sense. And actually, I just thought of something. Maybe somebody listening has the same problem. Credit cards sometimes just fail, like they just don't go through. It's usually the bank says like it's just out of the ordinary. Do you guys deal with that a lot? Any potential solutions, or is it you just kind of at the mercy of the banks?
Yeah, at the end of the day, we represent the processor of the transaction. A failed attempt or something that the merchant's end customer is doing that is outside of the lines. We really can't help there. We're just here to process the transaction and provide the breadth of
Yep.
ways to get paid. There are, fraud exists, sadly, right? And end customers sometimes have expired credit cards, or they have, they've reached their limit and the transaction won't go through. Now, if you call our office, we certainly can look together at any given transaction and tell you exactly what's happening with it and why something failed or where anything is in the process. But to say, hey, listen, there won't be any fraud attempts, or things like that once you're working with us. Sadly, that's not a function of the processor.
Right.
It's more that's the way of the world. That's the cost of doing business, sadly.
Yeah. Especially this time of year. I literally just had to cancel my credit card because I think somebody created a whole Amazon account and was making all these charges, and it blended right in with the rest of the stuff. And I didn't even notice it until, a couple of months later. But
yeah,
now is definitely the time around the holidays.
Well, that's why it's great to have an expert in the field that you can reach, to kind of help you, make sure you've got all the proper safeguards in place to prevent certain things like that. Again, there's no system that's 1,000% foolproof. We all know that. But it's very, very nice to know that, hey, you've got a live human being that you can talk to make sure that you set things up to be as secure as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Do you
Yeah.
think anything will change over the years? Credit card processing, will it be just another way to do it eventually or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, any industry has got, disruptors that come along. We would be prepared for them. The payment gateways and the processor, the banks and the processors that we represent are the best in the business, right? So we're kind of riding the rails of some of the biggest players in the industry. So I would be shocked if anything came out of left field to disrupt what we're doing in the level of service that we can provide for our customers. But yeah, if there was something that was AI driven in the future, there are a lot of kind of AI driven shoppers in the world that are doing transactions now. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that. But at the end of the day, they all still need to communicate with
Yeah.
Visa and the card brands, et cetera, and they need a
Yeah.
processor under the hood. So those things at the customer level, I don't think will disrupt our business.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'm more just meant if there's anything like, I don't know, I guess credit cards, when credit cards came out, if they're, yeah, I don't know, or maybe it'll be Bitcoin we're all paying in. You have to
Yeah.
process Bitcoin. I don't know.
Well, there's a lot of so Apple Pay is really just a credit card payment, right? It's your
Yeah.
Apple account and it's got a credit card behind it. And so yeah, we may see some other things where the interface is a little bit different, but provided it's a credit card opened, for that individual customer, we should still be able to play there.
Yeah. Are there any extra fees with Apple Pay? I was actually never even thought about that. No, same
No,
thing.
no,
Okay.
no, no.
Okay.
And then again, any of the devices that it's very slick if you've ever seen it or used it. You open up your iPhone, you touch it near the terminal,
Yeah.
and it pays. It's very, very cool.
Oh
So
yeah.
we don't see it a ton in the fence game, but we see it a lot in some of our more modern retail environments.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I can guarantee that if a website, yeah, it's not really for fencing and decking, but just like a random website retail, like cheaper stuff, I guess, you're definitely losing out on money if you don't have Apple Pay enabled because I can't go get my credit card for whatever reason or, just whatever it is, but it's all saved on my phone. It's like just tap it and you're good.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That brings up a good point. We will sometimes meet a fence and deck contractor that says, oh, we mail out an invoice and we wait for a check, or like, we just take cash. Like you're losing jobs because of that.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will, anytime I do a speaking engagement or I do one of these fence shows, I meet somebody that doesn't yet take credit cards, but their homeowners are now saying, hey, look, if you won't accept, if I can't use my Sky Miles, we're not doing this deal,
Yeah.
right? Like, and so I inevitably will meet somebody that I set them up for the very first time. So we talked about folks that already have an established merchant services set up, and we come in and improve on it, the efficiency and the cost of it. But if there's a fence or deck contractor that doesn't understand what it takes to be able to take credit cards for the first time, we'd be happy to help them too, get them start that journey.
Yeah. Oh, that drives me nuts when I hear like send me a check or something like, come on.
Yeah.
Check.
Right.
I had to go order checks just to do one payment one time. I'm like, I never, ever, ever use checks. Like, gotta have
Yep.
another option for that. But okay. Well, now that and now we're kind of getting to the end here. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we kind of sign off? Anything you'd like to add? Last couple notes, about the Tiger or anything else?
Yeah, no, just what a pleasure it was to chat with you today and to meet Matilda and love your organization. We're talking to all the same people, so the appreciate the opportunity to get the word out with you today, Alex. It was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, Mark. Thanks for coming on here. And yeah, I mean, I think this was a extremely valuable session. I mean, I love the idea of being able to say, okay, let's contact somebody, do an audit, see what you save, and then you save continuously. I think that's the very low barrier of entry, low amount of work for, the business owner that has a million things going on is overwhelmed. So keeping it nice and simple. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anybody has any questions, just reach out. Is the best way just to go through the website, tigerprocessing.com?
Yep, you can find us at tigerprocessing.com, and I'm Mark with a K at tigerprocessing.com. That's my email.
Perfect. All right. Well, yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Thanks again, Mark, for coming on here. And going forward with the podcast, going to continue everything we're doing like this, just bringing on a lot of new guests and trying to get some new exciting topics for everyone to hopefully help out your businesses, especially this time of year where it's in the off season. We're almost at Thanksgiving at the time of recording. It'll be released later than that, but it'll still be in that off season time. So make sure you're making those moves while you have it, not just kind of sitting around waiting for the next busy season. Make those moves that will improve the business for the next year. And same thing goes with marketing. If you have questions about that, updating your website, SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, social media, all that stuff we cover. So we're happy to do an analysis, just like Mark does, on all of your marketing and give you some different insights or ways to help hit your goals for the new year. But that is it. Last thing, review, subscribe, share the podcast, all that fun stuff. Going to keep it consistent, at least once a week. So hope you can, if it does provide value, if you did like the show, just share it with somebody and we'd appreciate it. But that is it. Mark, again, appreciate you coming on here and I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Thanks, Alex. Great to see you again.
Take care.